RockSport Radio, Scotland's only mix of rock and sport.
Now, let's turn to rugby, and Glasgow Warriors prop Alex Allan has been banned for 3 weeks after being sent off for a dangerous tackle in his side's 29-20 win over Scarlets. Now, this means he's going to miss the first derby against Edinburgh. Now, to tell us more about that, we've got Cammy Black from the Scottish Rugby Blog on the line now. Thanks for joining us, Cammy.
No worries.
It's good to speak to you. Now, how much of a blow is this for Glasgow Warriors?
It's a blow. I mean, it's worth bearing in mind, Glasgow have got big European fixtures coming up against Lyon before the game against Edinburgh. And, I mean, Alex Allan's, he's 27, but that's still quite young for a prop. So he's right. One of Glasgow's up-and-coming players. They've still got Ollie Kebble and Jamie Batty available. The reason Alex Allan was starting at the weekend was probably to give the likes of Ollie Kebble and Jamie Batty a bit of a rest going into the European fixtures.
Okay.
So it's a blow. He's a very good player, but Glasgow still have Ollie Kebble and Jamie Batty available. The risk, though, is that if in the upcoming European fixtures one of those goes down, they're quite thin on the ground below that in terms of squad depth, so they might start to struggle if either Ollie Kebble or Jamie Batty picks up an injury.
Right, but that's how you think they'll set up without him for the moment?
Certainly, I think. I mean, Ollie Kebble came on for him when he was red carded at the weekend, and did very well. I think Dave Rennie probably would have preferred to have given him less of a game to try and rest him for the weekend. So. Yeah. It's certainly a loss in terms of the squad depth and the risk of injury, but I think in terms of the upcoming games, Glasgow will manage, certainly, but there is always that risk that an injury and all of a sudden a thin on the ground. Yeah.
Did you think the tackle deserved a ban, Cammy?
It did. I mean, by the letter of the law, I feel very sorry for Allan. If you watch it in slow motion, it probably looks worse than it was as he was making the tackle, but the World Rugby are very clear now. You cannot tackle above the shoulder line. Mm-hmm. I think where fans and players are getting frustrated is it's not being refereed consistently.
Right.
Within the same game, there was a Scarlets player had a direct hit on Tim Swinson to the head. It was actually worse than the Alex Allan hit, and it only resulted in a yellow card. So I think from Alex Allan can have no complaints at all. I think about the fact he was red carded. The 3-week ban is the mid-range. It's 6 weeks reduced, probably because of good behaviour, to 3.
Okay.
It was he got his technique wrong. Ultimately, I don't think there was anything deliberate about it. But I think from a Glasgow Warriors point of view, you'd be frustrated with the way the rest of the game was then refereed, because there were 2 clear incidents of Scarlets foul play that should have resulted in yellow, if not higher, red cards.
Bit of a theme running through sports with this officials thing at the moment, isn't there, Cammy, when you look at it?
Oh, certainly, yeah, definitely. And I think that the problem is at the top in World Rugby, you've got the likes of Brett Gosper, who's the CEO of World Rugby, saying there needs to be more yellow cards and more red cards. Mm-hmm. But yet, during the Autumn Test Series, there were hardly any given out. And you had high-profile incidents such as, Owen Farrell's late shoulder charge to the head of a South African player in the closing minutes of the England-South Africa game. And nothing, no sanction and no subsequent review of that, as there should be, after the game. And I think that's where fans and players are getting frustrated, saying it's very well World Rugby and governing bodies saying we're there to protect player and player welfare, but if it's not actually being done in the game and that's not being applied by referees, then quite rightly players and fans are going to get frustrated.
Yeah, bit of a problem there. Now, looking ahead to the weekend, how are you feeling about Glasgow's Heineken Champions Cup tie against Lyon?
Very good. I think it's interesting for Glasgow because they lost against. They're still in it, but it's a must-win game. I mean, whether or not Lyon have still got their heads in the European Championship at the minute, I'm not sure. It's going to be a tough game, but Glasgow certainly would be confident going into it. I don't see any reason why they can't win, but it's an away fixture. It's in France, so there's that going for it. It's a must-win game for them. If they lose this, that's it. Their European campaign's over.
Do you feel Chris Hogg's got a point to prove in the fixture, Cammy?
Who, sorry?
Chris Hogg.
Stuart Hogg.
Stuart Hogg, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I don't think he's got a point to prove. I mean, he's obviously come back from a long injury. There seems to be a lot of he's got a point to prove. I mean, opposition teams now know about Stuart Hogg. They know the threat that he brings. But what Stuart Hogg does is he actually uses that very effectively, and he uses his reputation almost to draw players in. So that benefits those outside him. So if, for example, we end up with Tommy Seymour, as I think we will see on the wing, Tommy Seymour benefits from that because Stuart Hogg will drag players in who are questioning what's he going to do next, and that then just frees up for space for Tommy Seymour. And I don't think people give Stuart Hogg enough credit for that. I think what people see is, if he's not scoring tries, people wonder, is he on form? Is he the player he once was? But you can't expect Stuart Hogg to score tries every match. Our opposition teams are wise to the threat he offers, but what he will do is he'll use that to create space outside him.
Right, yep. And finally, Cammy, Nico Matawalo has been voted Warrior of the Month for November. How much does he deserve that one?
Oh, absolutely. He's been outstanding for Glasgow Warriors since he's come back. I mean, he had a difficult time when he left the Glasgow Warriors, I think, and he's come back, and it's almost his spiritual home, really, and I think he's allowed to play the way he wants to play, and Glasgow Warriors suit his style of play very well. And it was interesting at the weekend, he's clearly being asked to coach the younger players like George Horn. He was on the pitch, he was giving George, you could see constantly speaking to George Horn, giving him that experience that he has. And George Horn, you can see there's a lot of similarities in the way he plays. So it's great for Glasgow Warriors to have a player of his talent around, bringing through the younger players. And I would hope to see him extend his stay.
Well done, him. Well, it's good to speak to you, Cammy. Thanks for that and filling us in and all the latest from the rugby. It's good to speak to you, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
That's great. Thanks, Liz.
Thanks for that, Cammy Black there from Scottish Rugby Blog, giving us all the latest in what's going on in the world of rugby.
RockSport Radio, Scotland's only mix of rock and sport.